At the age of 15, I was in a relationship and I was abused. It seemed impossible for me to forgive him and also for me to start loving myself again. I started to hate him, and not only just hated him, I also started to hate myself. I didn't like who I was, I didn't know who I was, I didn't have an identity. And because of that, I started to have suicidal thoughts, and I began to change the outside appearance because I did not like what I saw in the mirror. So I began to shave my hair, and I also started to starve myself. And through this, I became more and more closed. I became very defensive, moody. Even at home, I wasn't a good role model at home. My relationship with my mother went from bad to worse. I started to blame her for what happened to me as well. And then after coming to the church, coming to the meetings and services, I learned how to build a relationship with God. And when learning to build a relationship with God, I learned how to love God. And after that, I started to learn how to love myself. The more I began to love God, the more I began to love myself and who I was. After 4 years, I managed to forgive him and also to start loving myself. And today I'm happy.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Finding Answers. What's more important to you? Is it the things that you can buy, the things you have, or is it the memories that you keep, memories of your family, happy memories? And you know what? I have a feeling that sometimes even the memories of the difficult things that we went through, they make us stronger. And sometimes we look back at those times and we say, you know, at that time I didn't have much, but I was happy. Have you experienced that? But when you look back at your life, or when you project your life into the future, what's the most important thing to you? Are you more about the car of your dreams that you want to retire driving on Sundays? Is it more about the house in the Caribbean that you want to buy, or the house in the south of France or Spain? Or is it you want to be close to your children when you retire? You want to build memories rather than building an empire? What's more important? And actually, more than ever, we hear stories of people who leave everything. They sell everything. Actually, I was watching a documentary this week of a guy who had a successful job in Australia, sold everything he had, and he bought a piece of land in an island somewhere where you can't really get to by plane or car. You have to go in a small boat, and he's there. He has to empty his own toilet every day. Imagine that, you go to the toilet, you have to empty your own toilet every day. But he said he's happy. I'm here building memories for myself. What's more important to you? Now, perhaps you've had a lot of stuff in the past. I have here with me, as usual, Roland. How are you, Roland?
I'm fine, James. Good evening to everybody that's watching us now.
It's very important for people to have security, financial security, to know that they can, you know, if they lose their job and they have 1 or 2 months where they don't have any income coming in, that they have security. But sometimes, because people work so hard, they end up sacrificing the time they should spend with their family. What do you think? Should there be a balance, or one thing is more important than the other?
For me, we know that depends from person to person. But the point is, time for everyone does not stop. Mm-hmm. Time is passing, time is ticking, and every action that you take, regardless for which subject you are focusing now, but every attitude you take will bring a reaction, right? Mm-hmm. And if you are investing then more on assets, on possessions, and sacrificing moments with your family, you know, sacrificing maybe these relationships with that you could have perhaps more joy, there'll be a time that you can take your hands to your head and say, what have I done? I didn't see my child growing up.
Yeah.
I didn't see my family together. I didn't sit at the table to dinner with them because I was so busy in business. So we have to evaluate really.
But it's a conflict sometimes because, you know, sometimes you say, look, James, I'm doing the best I can for my family. I'm working overtime. I have 3 jobs because I want to give the best for my son, for my daughter, for my children. So I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. What do? Do I work hard? Do I sacrifice every time I have to make sure that my child has the best? Or I spend a lot of time with my child, with my family. It doesn't have to be necessarily a child, but we struggle financially. It's a difficult question because sometimes the person wants to retire in a beautiful home in a place with a lot of sunshine, but it would be good for people to come and visit you once in a while. You may have the best house in the world. If everyone is upset at you because you didn't see them for the whole of their lives, you're going to be there by yourself.
And maybe you have to start then building memories only when you reach that level. Yeah. Only when you are there in the house is when you're going to start building memories. But thinking about what happened throughout the journey and not having good things to say, that can be really hard maybe to recover, even though there with everything.
And you know, I just remembered here that I sort of went through this a little bit because I remember my mom worked really hard. She worked so hard to bring myself and my brother up without the help of my dad, because that's a whole different story altogether, that it was difficult sometimes to cope. And perhaps you're going through that right now. Perhaps you say, James, I want to be there for my kid. I want to be there for my wife. I want to be there for my husband. I want to make sure that I'm there, that they know that I was part of their life. But I have no other option. I work like mad. Perhaps that's what you go through. And right now it's difficult. You feel like you're missing up, or you're missing out rather, on very important parts of your family. Sometimes perhaps you feel like this guy who sold everything and he moved abroad in a little piece of land somewhere and he's happy there. Maybe you feel like that. Look, I just want to be happy. And perhaps, you know, you're trying to build memories, because you can build memories by having money. And you try to build these memories with things you buy, with things you have. But perhaps the more you buy, the more empty you feel, the more unhappy you feel. By the way, later on, you're going to hear the story of a young man who's here with his wife. And at some point in his life, he was trying to build a future based on getting money no matter how he could, whether it would be through crime. You'll hear his story. But today's different. He's building good memories. Right, Roland?
It's true. Maybe you that are watching us right now have your family divided. Maybe you left your country, perhaps fighting for, to conquer. You left your country, left your family behind, and you are trying to build comfort and all. Mm-hmm. But indeed, I was advising a person this last week that had this problem. The person was here, the family is far away, the wife is missing him, the children are missing him. He said, but I'm here to conquer, I'm here fighting for them, but I feel like just leaving everything that is here to go because I need a hug from my wife. Yeah. And maybe you that are watching us are passing through difficult moments and you want to share with us, you want, more advice. Our helpline number is 020-7686-6300. We are waiting for a call. We have qualified people now to help you. 020-7686-6300.
That's right. And before we show you some more testimonies that we have prepared for you, I want to tell you something. If you want to tell us your story, tell us perhaps what you're going through right now, and you want to include your name in our prayer book for the end of this program, then the email address that you can write to is help@findinganswers.tv. help@findinganswers.tv. I want you to watch these real life stories that we prepared for you right now. And when we come back, we'll be speaking to Talshon and see the extent that he went to try to make money, to try to get a reputation, to try to achieve things. But today, he's making wonderful memories. We'll be right back.
This is your UCKG timetable. We are open 7 days a week, helping you to make a new beginning. Mondays, a meeting focused on achieving more in your financial life. Tuesdays, prayers for healing. Wednesdays, a meeting teaching you to develop in your spiritual life. Thursdays, a special prayer for the family. Friday, a service for your spiritual deliverance. Saturdays, Find the One, a service specifically tailored for your love life. Sundays, Reconnect with God, the main meeting for your spiritual strength.
It started from primary school. I was really angry. I got in loads of fights. Then I got older. I started getting involved with selling drugs. I started getting involved with gangs, with knives, people that had guns, girls. Girls started getting pregnant, things like this. And it just got worse. Most of the guys I was hanging around with started to go to prison. And it even got to a level where a drug deal that we did went wrong. And then I ended up with a gun put to my head. I thought that was the last day of my life. Coming to the church, I found support with other youths who were just like me. And they gave me support when I needed it most. When I felt down, when I felt like I couldn't take things no more, they were always there to give me support. And that literally gave me the push, the urge to change, and I did. Because of that, I'm not involved with gangs no more. I'm not getting in fights. I don't even need to look over my shoulder to say, okay, who's looking for me? Who am I going to get into problems with now? Who am I going to get into fights with now? Who wants to kill me? And I'm happy. I'm truly happy. I'm at peace with myself.
I want to remind you that if you can send us, if you want to send us an email now with your story, with your problems, your name for us to pray for you, we have access to our emails right now, and we can include your name in the prayer still tonight, okay? The email address is help@findinganswers.tv. And if you're a bit of a technophobe, you're not great with technology, you can always use the old phone, right? Or a new phone, doesn't matter. You can call us on 020-7686-6300. And the people that are ready to speak to you, they will be taking your name, whatever problem you're going through, so we can pray for you, okay? Now, you will hear in just a moment what success means through the life of Talshon and Milena.
Motivation was pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Thinking that it was her fault that my parents had broke up.
I realised that my life was sort of sinking to death. Things were really tight, even though orders would come. I see myself as completely different. I'm fulfilled.
Right, I'm sitting here now with Talshon and Milena. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Welcome.
You okay?
Really good.
Now, you guys have very different stories, but in a way, a little bit similar. I want to start with you, Talshon, if that's okay, because your story is very dramatic.
Yeah.
Now, am I right in thinking that before you even yourself were trying to make money and achieving things rather than making memories, your dad was already doing that, involved in that? Is that right?
Yeah, my whole family was already involved in that kind of lifestyle. So, growing up in that kind of lifestyle, it kind of become normal. Your friends are like that, your family is like that, people around you are like that.
When you say that lifestyle, what do you mean by that lifestyle?
Selling drugs, involved with guns, gambling. There's loads of stuff, women, all these kind of things I kind of grew up around. So
your dad was involved in that?
All kind of things. So my dad was involved in shootings, my dad was involved with women, gambling, violence in my house. I kind of grew up seeing loads of violence in my house. My mum and my dad fighting a lot. My mum right now can only see out of one of her eyes because my dad hair in the eye of a bottle.
Really?
So she can't see out of the right eye. So she can only see out of her left eye.
So your dad was a very violent person, right?
Very violent. And my first aim is to not be like him, but I grew up, started to do exactly the same thing he was doing. Step by step, people was comparing me to my dad. I started getting involved with the guns, the girls, beating up women, beating up guys,
Did you beat up women?
I used to beat up women.
Really?
Even though I didn't want to, it always used to come to it, and then somebody would say to me, "You're starting to act like your dad." And then I'll start to think about what I just did, kind of thing.
Milena, did you know that he beat up women before?
Yeah, he told me.
But you're not scared today?
No, because I know he's different now.
Right. You guys are actually married.
Yeah.
Right? You've been married for how long?
1 year, 2 months.
A year and 2 months.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that shortly. But tell me something. How did you yourself get involved in that kind of lifestyle of wanting to make the money? You wanted to make money at all costs?
At all costs. Basically, I wasn't getting anything at home. I used to see loads of friends with, lots of things, and I used to say, no, I want that. I want to have the things that they had. But it starts with like simple things like Game Boys and things like that. But then I wanted more things, so I'll, start to rob people.
What was the first crime that you ever committed?
The first crime I ever committed was back in the day in Jamaica. It's like the school bag when they first came out. They were like $500, and that was a lot of money back then. And that was the first, I robbed a guy and took his bag from him.
How old were you?
I was about 6.
That was the first thing. Your wife is laughing at you. But that's the first thing at a very young age. And people may think, well, that's nothing. But you remember that it started from there,
it
right?
started very young. Because in my primary school, everyone had like, a lot of stuff. So I didn't have anything. So I decided, you know what, if you can have it and walk like it's nothing, let me just take it. And then
when you came to the UK, who was here waiting for you?
My mum and my sister and my older brother.
Now, you came here, you knew hardly anyone, right? You didn't know anyone. How did you get involved into that lifestyle of robbing and wanting to make money?
When I came, my intention was to just live a normal life. Come to a new country, be a normal person. But I was just walking on the road one day, and then someone came, like around 50 guys came up a McDonald's shop, came to rob a jacket that I was wearing. So I kind of got into it from that, because I was like, I never used to get robbed when I was in Jamaica. Am I going to come to England and make people rob me? So because I knew one of the guys what school he went to, the next day I went to his school, we robbed him and beat him up, and it was just back and forth, became a cycle after that.
It escalated from there. How old were you then?
I was 11 going 12.
Okay. Now, Milena, you also came from a home with a lot of problems, right?
Yeah.
What happened? Are you okay to talk about that?
Yeah, I'm okay.
What happened? How was the environment at home as you were growing up? What did you see happening there?
It wasn't very physical. It was more like verbal arguments. It was very loud. My brother and my dad didn't really get along, but that was from when my brother was young. My dad always had like a resentment towards my brother, so he treated him very differently to how he treated me, and that was very obvious.
Different in what way?
Like, he wouldn't allow him to do normal things. Like, he wouldn't allow him to have his friends over. He wouldn't allow him to go out. He wouldn't allow him to have sleepovers. But I was allowed to do everything. But my brother was never allowed to, and he was older than me. He was firstborn. But it's like he was always limiting him.
Right. So you grew up in a home where there were a lot of arguments between your dad and your brother, you said?
Yeah, and my dad and my mum, they always had arguments, and it was mainly due to like financial problems. Like, my mum was always working, and my dad was always working, but then he would go through periods where for 6 months he wouldn't work. And then on the 7th month he'd come really motivated and find a job really easily and hold it down for like a year, and then he would just get fed up or feel like he's in the wrong place and just quit. And things like that frustrated my mum because she wanted that security. She didn't want to have to keep on being like the breadwinner constantly. And then when he would bring money in, half the time he would give the money to our relatives abroad. And she couldn't understand why he wouldn't discuss those things beforehand with her. Or why he would put his nieces or his sisters before his own children.
So when we were talking about money and making memories, in your case, you were having bad memories because of money or lack of money or problems with money, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up in a house like that. Now, Talshon, when did things, you said things escalated from the day that you got robbed, and you went and robbed him, beat him up. What sort of things did you get involved after that?
I got involved in shootings, in drugs. I started to sell crack cocaine.
Was it straight after that, or?
No, I had like relatives who were already doing it, so I would start selling little bits for them until I started to get my own.
How did it feel when you got money in your hands from the drugs? How did it feel?
It felt good at the time, everyone, I can get anything I want, whatever clothes I had, I can go to a club and, buy stuff for me and my friends, and we can relax, and I didn't have to worry about anything. That's the way I saw it at the time. I didn't have to worry about anything. But at the same time, I used to be in school or on the road, and I would have to look over my back because people wanted to kill me. People used to come outside my school waiting for me. To my school, I had to get a specific police officer who had to escort me off the building every time I leave school. So, it became a situation where every day I had to, look over my head, where I'm going. I couldn't go certain places. I had to restrict myself to a certain area.
So that money in your hands felt good, but it came at a price.
Yeah.
And that price was your own freedom, because you weren't free, were you?
I wasn't free at all. I didn't leave the area that I'm from, because where I'm from, it's Brixton, and I didn't leave Brixton. It was just Brixton and Brixton only. I wouldn't go, anywhere else. If anything happened, I have to buy it. If I need the trainers, I'm buying it in Brixton. If I need food, it's in Brixton. If it's a club, it's in Brixton. I'm not leaving Brixton. And that's just the way my lifestyle was. I didn't leave Brixton.
So in your case, the money you were making, the things you wanted to have was more important than making memories.
Yeah.
Because the memories you were making were bad ones because of that. I mean, you mentioned guns, were you ever shot at?
There's times that I've been shot at, and there's times that I've shot at people.
You shot at people as well?
So there's been different cycles. I remember, there's a time where we were just sitting in the area, and then people just came and started shoot out. And it went back, and I was literally stuck in the middle, and I couldn't move. I was literally, flat-footed,
Did you feel at that point that, maybe you needed a change in life? Look, this is not good for me. At what cost am I wanting to make money to buy things?
I didn't think about that, to be honest. Like I said, I thought it was normal. I thought that was the lifestyle. That was what I grew up knowing, from a young age. So I thought, this is the life, regardless of what I might think, if I go out there, there's always going to be shooting, there's always going to be killing. That's just the way things is.
So you thought there wasn't any other kind of life?
No.
If you projected your future, what did your future look like at that time?
I know that for me, when growing up, I didn't think I was going to pass 18 or 21. I wasn't thinking of going beyond that, because I saw many of my friends dying, who wasn't dying or in prison, and I just didn't see myself going beyond 21. And I remember when I was in school, teachers used to say that to me,
that, you know, I don't see you going far in life. You're either going to end up in prison or dead. So I didn't.
Your teachers told you that?
Yeah, teachers used to say that because of the way I used to live. Even in school, teachers used to leave the school because of me. So
teachers left school because of you?
There's like 3 or 4 teachers left the school because of me.
Now, for people to quit the place where they work because of you, you were really bad, huh?
Yeah. Remember the day that I dashed a chair in the teacher's head and she just didn't come back to the school after that. So, no.
Thank God you're different. And you're going to talk to us about that in a moment. Now, Milena, you grew up from, you know, being in that family, seeing those arguments. What kind of person did you become? How were you inside? Were you happy? Who was Milena?
I was really frustrated inside. I didn't like to be at home because at home there was a lot of noise. There was a lot of arguments. I couldn't get away from it. So it's like I always wanted to be outside of my house because when I came home, there would just be arguments, or it wouldn't be long until an argument happened. If there was like a happy moment or a moment when they were actually enjoying each other's company, it didn't last long. But the arguments seemed to last forever. They lasted so many hours. They got louder and louder, and it was just terrible to live in. I didn't like it at all.
What was your view of relationships? Did you ever think, did you want relationships? Didn't you want relationships? Were you a person who needed attention a lot? How were you?
I never really thought about having a future or a family, like future relationship. I wasn't very committed. Like I would be afraid of commitment. And my friends would always be like, you're like a guy, you're afraid of commitment. And I'd be like, I don't know why I'm like this. Or I can imagine myself going up to the altar to like get married, but never being able to say yes, like changing my mind last minute. And a lot of people would predict that I'd be one of those people that had like 4 children from 4 different men because I couldn't make up my mind or something like that. And they would say that, and I wouldn't say anything, but in my head I was like, is this really what I'm going to end up being? I don't want to be this person.
That idea actually started to sink into your mind.
Yeah, like everyone seemed to have that view, and secretly I didn't want it, but it seemed to be what was destined for me.
Okay. Now, Talshon, I want you to tell me what was the worst moment of your life that you remember. When did you get to a point that you thought, I need to do something. Something's got to give, something's got to change.
I remember one thing that's sticking to my mind when I was younger in Jamaica. I remember when my dad physically beat me up, and I was left in the middle of the road, and cars were driving past, and I was there bleeding.
Your own dad did
My
that?
own dad. I was there bleeding, and because of who he was, no one wanted to get involved. Like if anyone should even try and come and help me, it would be a different thing. Remember that same night, where he locked me at the house, I went to sleep in like my construction site where they were building houses and stuff. And I remember that same night there was a shootout. And while I was sleeping, 2 of the gunmen run inside the building and they start shooting each other. And I was in the corner, and it's dark, but you can see the lights of the shooting happening. And I remember if I move, I was saying to myself, if I move, they're gonna think that I'm somebody else and start shooting at me instead. So I was there and I can see that happening, and for me that was like the worst moment of my life. Like if I step out, I could have been dead.
So they didn't even know you were there?
They didn't know I was there.
Right. Now, in a few moments, we're going to find out how your life changed, because things are very different now. You guys are a young couple, you're married, right?
Yeah.
So you overcame your fear of commitment because you're married, so something had to change. You said yes to him, right?
Yes.
Did she say yes? She said yes. At the first time? Good. So, but I want you who are watching me now, I want you to draw inspiration from this young man, because perhaps he's a different spectrum to who you are, because maybe you would do anything to be able to provide the best for yourself and for your family, but maybe not breaking the law. You would do everything in terms of, working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, getting a degree, doing whatever. Or maybe you are in the same lifestyle that he was, but you just don't know how to break from it. I spoke to someone this week who said, look, James, I have everything. I have a very, well-off life. My children want for nothing. Whatever they ask me, whatever brand of clothes they want, I buy them. They need nothing. If my son asks me tomorrow, get me a 1,000 pound computer, 2,000 pound computer, I'll buy him. I don't need to wait for payday. But yet my son went off and got involved in a life of crime. Perhaps you're going through something right now that you say, look, I need help to get out of this. Just like Talshon and Milena needed help and they found it. If you want to talk to someone, give us a call now. I just had a report a few moments ago that there are people calling. If you can't get through the lines, do keep trying because there will be someone there to speak to you. The number is 020-7686-6300, or you can send us an email, help@findinganswers.tv. They found help. Talshon and Milena found help. You can find help as well. We're going to go into a short break. When we come back, we'll hear how they turned their lives around.
Very good evening to you. We are live here. This is your Finding Answers program.
I started running away from home at a very young age.
Guns, knives, affiliated with gangs, drugs.
The rope is there, but you still have to climb it.
See the root of the problem. Where is that problem coming from? What is the root to it?
Share. Open your heart. Talk to someone.
If you ask the question, can God help me? The answer will always be yes.
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do. This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020-7686-6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
If God can hold all the waters of the ocean in the palm of His hands, imagine the problem of the person.
You can't say that your problem is bigger than these waters, than the ocean.
No matter how big a building is, a monument is, from where we're standing, it looks tiny.
What God wants to do is to raise you up. As you can see, the sun is setting behind us. And maybe in the same way, your life is going down. Maybe in the same way, happiness is going down.
Even if the sun goes down now, tomorrow, it's guaranteed that whether you see the clouds or something's blocking the sun, but the sun will be there. Welcome back. I want to remind you, count on us. No matter what you're going through, even if your problem has nothing to do with today's topic, even if you say, James, my problem is something completely different. You know, you didn't mention my problem, and I could be here the whole night. I wouldn't be able to mention all the problems in the world, perhaps the problem that you're going through. But I can tell you this, whatever you are going through right now, the power of prayer can change your life. Completely. The power of prayer and the right advice, the right motivation. So feel free to contact us. I gave you the email address, the telephone number, the details will be on the screen. You can call or email at any time. Okay? Now, Talshon and Milena, you came to know the power of prayer, right? Tell me, how did you come to know about God, about the power of God? How did things change?
For me, I didn't really believe in God at the time when I came to the church. A friend invited me to the church, and I remember she would invite me for a long time, and I didn't want to come because, you know, it's church. So I didn't really want to come, but anyway, you know, she knew I played football, so there's a football tournament, so she's like, no, come play football with us. So I started come, and ever since I stepped foot inside the church, I didn't want to leave.
So you came to play football,
yeah.
and there something happened.
Yeah, it was different to me. It's just something that I've never experienced. You know, the message that I was hearing, you know, I was just sitting at the back, but the message that I was hearing every day was like something that I wanted to know about in life that no one has said to me.
When you got there, was Milena there, or you came first?
I came first.
You came first.
Yeah.
Milena came
first.
Did you?
I came in September.
Don't start an argument here.
Didn't you come in October?
I think I came in October, so she came first.
Okay, so like 1 month before?
Yeah, 1 month before.
Okay. So, and you said the message started to bring a positive impact in your life. So what happened? Did you feel like you had to change, like something had to change?
I didn't feel like I had to change, but I felt like it was something that I wanted to know more about. I remember, you know, me coming, you know, I started to separate myself from certain things because, you know, I'll be inside the church, not because I was doing it intentionally, but because I say, no, I want to go there to hear what, you know, they have to say, because it was, you know, something that was helping me. And I remember the time where I used to spend in nightclubs and doing things, I was in the church, and that same night, you know, a very, very close friend of mine that, you know, we started to look like each other, he got killed that night.
You were in the church?
I was in the church.
And he was in a nightclub?
And he was in a nightclub.
And he got killed? Yeah,
they cut his throat from behind. And many people, they were saying that could have been me, and, you know, but it was from that moment that I was like, nah.
And actually, that could have been you. Because had you been there, we hear stories all the time of people getting killed because of mistaken identity. It could have been you. So coming to the church really started to change you positively, right?
And from that night, I just didn't want it to be among that kind of environment anymore. I didn't want to go to any nightclubs. I didn't want to be around, you know, that kind of friends anymore, because I started to realize that, you know, all my friends were dying, and I was like one of the only one that was left, and I had an opportunity to change my life.
So you left the lifestyle of drugs?
I left that lifestyle.
Guns?
So step by step, I started to leave things one by one. And, you know, it came to a point where people used to call me, "Are you not coming to do this run up? You know, this guy's got this amount of money," and I was able to say no. So, you know, things started changing for me slowly.
So when did you meet eyes with Milena? How did it happen? I'm sure you were in the church as well, right? You changed as well, Milena?
Yes, I changed as well. My family got better as well. My dad and my brother, they have a much better relationship. The sort of resentment that they had towards each other was like resolved, and my mum and my dad don't argue as much. They do still have their issues, but it's not anything like how it was when I was growing up. They're very civil with each other now, and they're working on their relationship.
Great.
And
how did your relationship start up? Who approached who? What happened? Did you wink at her? What happened?
She didn't like me before.
You didn't like him?
She used to think I was very...
Oh, really? No. I didn't like his attitude, and I didn't like, he was really, really loud, and he was really like, he would just expect you to do things because he told you to, and I just thought he was a bit full of himself, and he needed to come back down to reality.
So something changed.
Yeah.
He changed, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Tell me something. So you're married now. How is the marriage now? You go first, Milan, because he already spoke a lot. So.
The marriage is really good, and we're really enjoying ourselves, and we're learning a lot, and we've been surrounded by lots of good examples of married people that are happy, and that's really helped us. Like, if we ever go through anything, we've got people that can help us and advise us accordingly, that have also been through similar things. So we're learning to compromise, we're learning to share and to give each other to give each other more love and to give each other more attention, to look at each other's likes and dislikes and see how we can help each other.
That's great. Now, the important thing is that a lot of people will say like this, look, you guys are very young, you got married. Actually, a lot of people criticize that. They say, oh, how could you get married very young? You should be out there enjoying yourselves. But you guys are building memories that you will have with yourselves for the rest of your life. And I know that for a young couple, usually it's quite tough financially because you're just starting out and you have a lot of responsibilities. But even then you are achieving these things together, making memories together, right?
I mean, for my brothers to see me as a role model, that means a lot to me.
And are they older than you?
They're older than me.
So they're all older than you, but they see you as a role model?
Yeah, they all see me as a role model. Now, you know, one of them's been married, one of them's planning to get married. And, you know, if they have any issue, they call me because they're like, nah, I need to speak to, you know, someone who, you know, is a role model to me, someone who's doing it the correct way. So, you know, they look at my marriage as something that my mom and dad didn't have, you know, their family, and you know, they want to build something different. So my brother, who's with his partner, they used to fight a lot, like my mom and dad. And me and my wife get married now, me and Milena get married now, they look at me and they're like, why can't I have that? Why do I have to be living that kind of lifestyle? So whenever there's an issue at their house, they'll call me and say, you know, what should I do, kind of thing.
So they ask you, what should I do?
Yeah.
And that's amazing. How old is your brother?
One's 28 and one's 30.
Okay, and you're the youngest one, the baby brother, right? But you see, that's the thing, because you know, perhaps you're watching them now and you say, well, but they are indeed very young, and they are, and that's how it's supposed to be, right? You're supposed to start right, because if you start something correctly, it's going to end correctly. End in the sense that it's not going to end, but it will always be correct. It will always be good. And you know, things can be tough, but in your opinion, what is more important, making memories or making money, buying things?
Making good memories. Because you know, some people make memories, but they're making it the wrong memories. You know, making good memories that will last forever, that you can sit back, you know, and smile about. Not memories that you can sit back and think, no, I shouldn't have done that. Because
and actually, it's even better if you can make memories and make money at the same time, right? If you can get a nice house, a nice home, and I'm sure you guys have plans like this as well, right?
Yeah.
Step by step, we'll get there. We'll get to, you know, the big house and the big cars and the family and stuff. We're getting there.
But this time in the right way.
In the right way.
That's good. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm sure that your story is an inspiration for people who are perhaps going through something similar to you, or maybe completely different, but they needed help to go on the right track. And I want you to know this, that, you know, their story, especially Talshon's story, it's quite, you know, it's a harrowing story, very terrible to hear certain things that he went through. His dad beating him up and leaving him, you know, by the side of the road, locking him out. It's terrible to hear that. And maybe you've gone through worse things. Perhaps things that if you were to talk to others, they don't sound as worse. But trust me, when it's you, when it's the person's in your shoes, it's always bad. It's always worse when it's us, because we feel the pain. And maybe you say, look, I just need someone to point me in the right direction for me to get out of this. I just can't stand being the way that I am anymore and the problems that I'm going through anymore. And you can do this. And just something before we finish with you guys, this transformation didn't happen overnight, right?
No, it didn't.
Was it tough?
It was very hard. It was very hard because, you know, when I first came, I was having problems at home. My mom didn't want to see me come to the church. And, you know, it was difficult because even when I was living the life of crime, she didn't mind. And when I started to come, you know, she was trying to take me away from the church. But, you know, friends were calling me, you know, people were saying, nah, come do this, come do that. But I had to fight against myself because there's times that I wanted to because I didn't have anything. But then I had to fight against myself to say, you know what, if I want to change my life, if I want to live a proper life, now that I know what is right, I have to fight for what I want.
Okay.
So,
and for you, was a battle as well for you to deal with these issues you had, the commitment issues and these things?
Yeah, it was a step-by-step process. But overcoming each thing slowly made me think, if I could overcome that, I can overcome this. And it would really motivate me. And then it sort of became like something where I challenged myself. And now, because I've come so far, the thought of even giving up doesn't stick around, because I'm like, I did not go through all of this just to end up back to where I was. So that's not even an option.
Guys, thank you so much for being on the program, okay? Now, I want to show you the story of a young man in Nottingham. You're going to hear his story. He chose to record his story so that you could hear how he also overcame his troubles.
Hi, my name is Mike, and before I came to the church, my life was really destroyed and broken. First thing was from my family itself, because there was many influences and grudges as well, problems that happened before, from arguments between my mother and my father. And it got to a point that my mother and father passed away. From there, I left many scars in the family, and I developed grudges, hate, anger. From there, I got influenced the wrong crowd outside of committing crime, hanging with the wrong people, doing wrong things also. Police will come to my house, I'll get arrested, I'll get in trouble at school. So things are really, really going down the hill. The worst moment in my life was that I almost got killed in a rival fight. And not only that, my mother didn't want me in the house anymore, she wanted to kick me out. So then I was introduced to the church. When I came to the church, my first experience was different. I never been to an environment like that before, where people were happy. So it got me intrigued, interested about it. Then from there, I also heard how people, they changed their life, their families, their behavior, their character. That got me interested as well. So from the advices that I was given, I started to apply it to myself. I started to do the things that was right and take away all the negative things that was bad. So from there, I continued developing, and through time, I saw myself changing. I became more happier. I wasn't grumpy anymore. I wasn't sad. I wasn't paranoid. I wasn't angry. But I became transformed, and I thank God even that I even came to this place. But because now today I'm a changed person. I can sleep at night, no problem. Me and my family today are happy. We're all blessed, and it's a good thing. And here I am today, and I'm also helping others as well who are facing difficulties in their life for them to see change also. Thank you.
I want to read to you the quote of the day. We bring quotes here to this program that sometimes pass a message across of the point across of what we're trying to say here. And it says, people go through experience or grow through experience if they meet life honestly and courageously. This is how character is built. So, like we said earlier, it's important to build memories, and hopefully along the way for you to build yourself as well, to build your self-esteem, your career, and accumulate, success and wealth. But the most important thing is that you grow in character as a person. Now I have here Kimberly with me. How are you, Kimberly?
Good evening.
You're right?
I'm well, thank you.
Do you have any interesting stories about what we were saying earlier?
Yes, we do. We have some comments that some viewers have been emailing us. And we have one from Paul. He says, the age of a person asked can also make a difference, as you may find in some cases. The older people get, the less they value possessions in relation to experiences. This can be more apparent in people who have lost loved ones.
So he said that as the older people get, the less they are attached to money.
Yeah, to possessions, so the experiences are more valuable.
So what do you think about that?
Well, I do believe probably as time goes along, you get to see the most important things that you treasure, which are your memories, which could never be brought back. But possessions, you can always have your possessions from time to time. Yeah.
But I think some people find it difficult, even when they're older, to let go. Because imagine if the person accumulated 40 years of, imagine he was saving every month a lot of money, not a lot of money, but some money every month. At the end of 40 years, that's a big lump sum, right? Some people find it difficult to let go of that. They want to spend every penny before they go to their grave, so they leave nothing for anyone. So even when you're older, sometimes?
Well, I think it's something that you can always weigh in. It really depends.
And the most important thing, hopefully, you will find as early as possible, you will understand how important your family is and the people that will make your life special. Hopefully you'll understand that not at the end, but right at the beginning. Any other news or comments?
Yes, we do. We have from Martha. Purchases have brought me great happiness. My house, computer and laptop, for instance, have enriched and made my life more productive. But we remember moments like weddings, births, and spending time with family and friends. Material possessions are disposable. You remember the laughter and fun from the time at a restaurant, not necessarily the money that you spent.
Have you ever been sick, Kimberly?
Yes, I have.
So when you were sick, your laptop, did it come to put the blanket around you and make you a nice cup of tea?
No, for sure not.
Who did that for you?
My mom.
Your mom?
Yeah, mom, my friends, family, they were more around.
Yeah. So I mean, it's important. I think you get a sense of achievement when you saved for something and you bought that. It makes you feel good, right? But remember that no matter how nice it is for you to drive that posh car, when you're sick, that car is not going to visit you in a hospital and tell you everything's going to be okay. It's your family that's going to do that. Now, I believe we have letters as well, and some people who wrote to the program. If you don't, I have.
Don't.
You don't, I have here. I'm going to read some letters to you. I think this camera, let's see. Someone wrote and said, my son is a recovering drug addict, an alcohol abuser. He is getting on the right track, but it is still tough. It's still touch and go. Please, we need as many prayers as humanly possible. I need your help as a mother. I cannot see my son hit rock bottom. I'm not going to mention the name because I imagine this is something quite personal that the person wants to keep, doesn't want to broadcast her name and the nature of the problem with the son. But we are going to pray for you. And prayer, the importance of prayer. And by the way, we are going to pray now. I'd like you to prepare your glass with water because myself and Roland, we're going to be making a prayer for yourself, for your family. But you know how prayer is important. Think about this. Kimberly, imagine that you're my sister and you live in a different country and you're going through a problem. And no matter how much I want, I would like to reach out to you and help you with your problem, but I can't. You're in another country, but prayer can reach to you. Do you believe in prayer, Kimberly?
I do believe in prayer.
So we are going to do this right now. If you are going through a problem and you want to receive a prayer for yourself, for your family, then prepare your glass with water. I have the names here. Actually, I'd like to read the names of those who called. Let me just get them here now. Let me see. I don't know if we had more names that came in. But we have Catherine. I don't have the surnames here with me, but Catherine and Stephanie. So we are going to pray for Catherine, for Stephanie, and for all of you that perhaps didn't call, didn't email, but you need help right now. Prepare your glass with water. It's the moment of prayer. My Lord and my Father, there are moments in life where it seemed like the penny dropped and finally we wake up to something. And perhaps here tonight or even before, this person has woken up to the fact that what is the point if she works so hard and makes all this money and achieves all these things if there's no peace in her home, if she's lonely or he's lonely, doesn't matter. And this person today wants to invest their strength, their effort, their time and energy into building memories, to building a family, to building a peaceful life, a life of joy. And of course, along the way, I'm sure that they will also be able to find success. But if this person is struggling now, my Lord, perhaps to find balance for their family, maybe we have single parents who are now praying with us and are struggling to provide or to find a balance between providing for their families and being there for them physically, spending time with them. My Lord, let this person find a solution, a way out, so that they can have the time to enjoy their families. I pray for this person, my Lord, who feels completely hopeless. This person who perhaps has lived a life where they measured no costs to make money, like Talshon at one point. But right now, this person wants to change the direction of their life. Whatever the case that they are going through may be, I pray, my Lord, that you make those who were knocked down by problems to be able to stand. Let them stand. Let them have the strength to overcome the daily battles. Like Milena said, every battle she overcame, she felt she was stronger to overcome the next challenge of the next day. So my Lord, consecrate this water, that through it, this person may receive the strength to overcome whatever problem that they are going through right now. I bless this water in the name of the Father, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. You may drink of it now. You know, Roland, there are problems that we have that we can't wait for tomorrow. You know, even dentists that are fully booked, if you have an emergency, they'll make time for you, because sometimes when you have a problem, you need to speak to someone right away. And that's why we are available 7 days a week to pray, to help people.
To advise you more, because indeed everything comes to an action. Mm-hmm. You must do something. If you want to build memories, even memories of what you wish to conquer from now, from this moment on, you must do something now. It all depends on the seeds you're going to plant now, so you can reap on the day of tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And that starts now, when you can send us an email requesting perhaps for a one-to-one talk, mm-hmm, to you, to me, to one of the presenters of the program. If you want further advice, you can contact us.
And I will let you know how much that costs, because of course, if you want to speak to us personally, we're very busy. So, of course, if you want to speak to us, it costs nothing, right?
It's true.
That's what we do. So don't worry about how much it costs, because it's our pleasure to be able to help you. Okay, we'll be back with you again tomorrow at the same time. Until then, have a wonderful night. May God bless you.